This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Bradley Summers from Boys and Girls Club of Alpena. Hi, Brad.
Hi, Nancy.
So school's back in session and you folks had the busiest summer in history. So now I'm sure you're starting the busiest school year in history.
Absolutely. We're hitting the ground running. We've had, usually the first couple weeks, the parents are in transition between, getting their kids to the club and finding out buses and getting into that routine. But within the second day of the summer or of the school year opening, we just had a lot of children already, which is a good thing because we closed down for a week before the school year just to prepare for that exact thing. So, with that being said, there's a lot of programming initiatives and a lot of opportunities for the kids that we've been engaging them with and obviously preparing for. So the more the merrier. We like a busy start just because of the fact it's just you get in that routine and days go a lot quicker when you're engaging the youth.
And you got some wonderful programming coming up that you were able to get a grant for, STEM programming. Tell me about STEM programming.
Well, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And in today's day and age, you hear STEM all over, or even STEAM, where they throw in I believe it's architecture.
Right.
But with STEM, the kids are very interested in computer technology, computer programming, these kind of things. So, we've been listening to the parents and listening to the kids about ways that we can better facilitate programming for them. And just the reoccurring theme was, let's offer more STEM programming. Let's offer more science, technology, engineering, and mathematics opportunities for these kids. We've always done things, but on a little smaller scale. We've done, obviously computer literacy and things of that nature, but, actually having more of the hands-on, like really getting in depth and learning how things work and really seeing it and working as a group and coming up with ideas, is really, obviously a very vital opportunity for us to present to these kids because, it's all about the education of the young ones. So, we've been listening to the kids and the parents. So thankfully, we have a grant through United Way this year with one of their mini grants to start buying and purchasing some of the equipment needed for this because of course everything comes at a cost.
Yes.
So we're starting a small program with it's called Lego Storm, where the kids, it's Lego materials, but it has built-in kinetic motors, built-in battery-powered motors, built-in electrical outlet power. So there's like different ways for the kids to understand how to use different kind of power. And then we have some solar opportunities too, where the kids can actually use solar panels to operate and to make things work. And the kids have to learn about wiring, how to engineer these things. And hopefully, in the long run, we can become, maybe a feeder program for the robotics program at the high school. And, they have run such a successful program, and these young kids emulate the older kids. So, they see these older kids in the high school and being really excited and doing presentations at the school and showing, their robots and all these things, as an opportunity for us to capture that excitement and provide something and get these kids more acclimated to the culture we're moving towards.
And what I like is they go to school all day, they're learning all day in school, but when they come to the club, they're so excited about these things because they're hands-on, they're fun, they're actually learning while having fun, and it's just kind of all goes back and correlates with what they're learning in school, and it's just like they don't even realize they're learning.
We're all working together in the Alpena community to educate the young people, to make them the best possible people they can be, and education is key no matter how you look at things.
Oh, it is.
Without education, the future is not as bright as it could be.
If it can be disguised as fun, more the better.
Exactly. Well, and that's, that's where we've always come in with the more unique approach to things too, because kids, they're more receptive when they're running around or learning while they're being engaged somehow like that. Teachers are experts at it. We're becoming experts at it too. So we're very happy to be able to partner with so many wonderful people in this community to provide these things for the kids.
Yep, you have some wonderful collaborations. Okay, October's a busy month for staff training, so you have a lot of things going on for staff training.
We do. My unit director, Jen Digna, she's going to be going to Orlando, Florida for the Club Directors Institute.
Oh.
This is to gear her in a direction to help her, do her job and do it, even better than she is right now. How to provide more activities for the kids, how to do a little bit more of the management of the staff. A lot of really great things, and she networks with people doing the same thing she is from all over the country. These are some of the benefits that we have, being part of the National Boys and Girls Club is very, very discounted trainings and training opportunities. Airfare, things like that, are very discounted. So, it's not a huge hit to our organization sending, all of our employees somewhere, to do these things.
Okay, and then Brooke and 2 National Youth Advisory Board members will be heading to YVC Summit in Kansas City.
Every year, the Youth Volunteer Corps runs a summit in Kansas City or somewhere else. It was in Ann Arbor 2 years ago. But Brooke Mainville, the YVC director, and we have 2 National Youth Advisory Board members here in Alpena, 2 high school students, wonderful, wonderful kids. And they're going to be going to do some trainings with other YVC, network with other people, and just have a good time with people doing the same thing.
And you get to head to a conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
I'll be off to the Midwest Leadership Conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this year, and it's an opportunity for me to network with other people, the other executive directors, bring back great ideas that we can implement at our club, and of course how to find more funding, how to work with federal grants, state grants, local grants, and a lot of different aspects to my job for sure. So. Very important.
Right, and you have on here having an educated staff ready to engage is vital, and you excel at that. I mean, even without all the education, you have a dedicated staff. They get paid for this many hours and they do this many hours. Everybody in your staff goes above and beyond, and and the youth in our community and the attendance at your center certainly is attributed to that.
Well, thank you. And that's, investing in, the biggest investment we have is our employees. And we have to invest in them if we're going to invest in the organization and the community and the kids and the parents and everything else. We've had so many parents that have actually, that don't come so much during the summer, the kids don't come so much during the summer. But when the school year starts again, we see some of the kids that we haven't seen in a little while, and it's very refreshing for the parents to walk into the door and see myself, Jen, Brooke,
same staff,
a
time
lot
and
of
time
the
again.
same staff, and that we build that rapport with the parents, because that's crucial. I mean, the most cherished possession a parent has is their child, and that's our #1 priority is the safety of every kid that walks through our doors. So it's very important to tell the parents that of course that's why we're here.
And we're out of time, unfortunately, but all this wonderful things we've talked about can happen for $10 per child per year, but we will not turn anyone away. We do have scholarships, 356-0214 if you have any questions.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. See you next month. I'll be right back with Amy Cedarval from the Salvation Army following these messages. Hi, welcome back. I'm with Amy Cedarval from the Salvation Army right here in Alpena. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Nancy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, and it's so good to see you. I saw you at the United Way kickoff, and I know that you're one of the agencies of the United Way, and very grateful for all the support that you get from them.
Absolutely. It helps us do a lot in this area. So.
And one of the things that you do that people don't really know about is you're always out there, you're always on the scene doing so many things, but something coming up is the coat giveaway.
Yes, we partner with Hope Shores Alliance and Child and Family Services. So we are currently, all three of us are accepting donations of used or new coats and outerwear, or monetary donations to help us go supply some of those as well. And it's an opportunity to make sure that in our cold climates nobody's going without a coat, because it's just too cold in the winter for that.
Right, and so we're taking men's, women's, children's,
yes.
And please don't donate something that you wouldn't want to wear. Make sure it's clean, make sure that it's free of dog hair and lint, make sure the buttons are on, make sure the zippers work, because then it costs you money to have to get rid of that merchandise.
Yeah, we try to make sure that we think of people's dignity when we're giving it to them.
Yes.
We want to make sure that they're warm, and of course that's the #1 priority, but there is a dignity factor involved.
Oh, yes.
So we don't want to give them something that's holy or filthy. So those, we generally would dispose of those. Some of our volunteers will take some of them home to wash as well, so that we can get the use out of them if it looks like it's just maybe dirty, or maybe it has an odor, or something along those lines. So we've had a great opportunity to work with people with that as well. But last year I want to say it was 300 over 300 families that we helped with coats. So
And what about boots, mittens, and hats?
boots, mittens, hats, scarves, gloves. We'll even take some sweaters and that type of thing. We've given those out as well. One of the big things is plus size.
Okay.
We just never have enough.
Okay. And when is this wonderful event going to be held and where?
Tuesday, October 24th.
Okay.
And it will be at the Salvation Army building at 722 North 2nd.
Okay. And get there early and stand in line and wait to get in. But just something real important. Thank you, community. Thank you, all the agencies. Yes. Thank you, churches. Thank you, people who donate.
Yes, absolutely.
And, you know, I've donated things before and been there, and I've just am amazed at seeing a little kid pick up a coat and how excited they are, or seeing an adult finding a nice warm winter coat. And even if they have a coat, to get something new and different. I know how excited I get to get something new and different. So please keep that in mind when you're donating and be very generous.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then another thing, with all the natural disasters that have been occurring, I'm certain the Salvation Army has been on the forefront.
Absolutely. The Salvation Army has been on the ground since before the hurricanes hit. They'll be on the ground for, well, forever afterwards, because we do have facilities in each of the areas that have been hit. But there have been teams coming from all over the country to both Texas as well as Florida, and I'm sure Puerto Rico is going to be coming soon. As soon as they can get a little bit more transportation logistics worked out.
Yes.
Because I heard the other day their airport has been toast too. So I think that's probably what's slowing that up a little bit more. But I do know there are Salvation Army facilities in Puerto Rico, so they'll be doing what they can with the resources they have. But Harvey was, in the midst of it, it was one of the biggest, no, it was the biggest disaster response that the Salvation Army has had to date. There were over 100 mobile feeding units that were brought in from around the country. Teams of disaster service workers were shipping down. We had one here from Alpena, one of our volunteers with disaster services, Joyce Dembski. She actually went down and served a term down as a canteen worker to distribute meals to people who didn't get them. You know, we heard constant stories. We still hear stories of people who were just hungry. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have, you know, and there's only so far the cold canned foods can take you.
Yes.
And you know they're hungry and they're trying to clean out. They're trying to get this done. Some of the roads aren't very passable, and so when the canteens could come in and feed them, it was just an amazing blessing for them, and you know, provide some basic things. From that, and then, you know, the Salvation Army services will continue with helping to provide what they need to start over now that the cleanup's begun.
And people, if they want to make a donation for any of the disaster relief, they can bring it to your location.
They absolutely can, and with disaster services, 100% of your donation goes directly into the disaster. Right now, they're asking. If you put the memo hurricane relief, then they can use it for Irma or Harvey, either one, or you know, maybe now even in Puerto Rico. But if you want specifically, if you have a heart for Texas or if you have a heart for Florida, if you write on the memo line Harvey, 100% will go to Harvey. If you write Irma, 100% goes to Irma. You know, our basic operations of our emergency disaster services are already in our budget for our normal operating, so none of those donations that come earmarked go at all for administration costs.
Okay, and just we're almost out of time, but I just briefly want to mention too that you have a food pantry if someone's desperate. There are some rules and regulations, but call and get those. You have the wonderful thrift store. I happened to be in there yesterday. It's very well organized, easy to find things. The staff is very friendly and helpful. And you also help with all kinds of different things, paying for utilities and medications and things. So if anyone is interested to make a donation for that, the Kettle campaign will be kicking off soon.
Very soon.
Very soon. I'm sure you're working hard on that now. So if anyone wants to volunteer, what I'd like to encourage people to do is volunteer, because then you can hire fewer people and you have more money to turn back into our community. And if you don't think that our community needs the money and that it gets used for the people who need it, you know, think again, because it does.
Yeah. We did 175,000, I believe, almost 200 with the final count for this last fiscal year of utility service alone. So it's the need is out there. The need is great. We have a very generous community. We're always blessed by the amount of food that we're given, things that show up out of the middle of nowhere where somebody just kind of backs up their car and say, I've got a trunk load. and and it's always a blessing for us. But yeah, especially for bell ringing, the more volunteers we get, the less money we have to spend out, and that's always our goal.
And there's other ways to volunteer too. You can volunteer at the
thrift store, at the office,
thrift store, at the coat giveaway. There's so many different ways that you're able to help. You can visit shut-ins. You can make phone calls. There's just so many different things that you can do. And what's the best way to reach you, Amy?
358-2769.
Okay. And just feel free to stop in and say, hey, I want to volunteer. If you're not able to help financially, maybe give up a few hours a week and help, so you know that you're doing the most good in your community.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell Kevin we said hi, and I look forward to talking to you again next month as we kick off the Kettle campaign.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Judith Klatt from the University of Michigan, a researcher, David Cummins, a marine tech instructor at ACC. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for hosting us.
U of M is in Alpena doing some really interesting research. Could you share with the viewers, what that research is, what you hope to find?
So we're staying in Alpena because we're looking at a sinkhole close by off Middle Island. So we're working already since 2009, I think, with the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary, our excellent NOAA team. And so we are coming here every year, at least twice or 3 times, working with a lot of other partners. And we are looking at this sinkhole because it's a very pristine, special environment that we can't find anywhere else. How nice that?
That is neat. So what do you hope to find in this pristine environment?
So the special thing about this sinkhole is that it is not exposed to Lake Huron water column, but to a very, very special, slightly sulfidic, low oxygen water column. And there, microbial life flourishes, and fish are not there. So what we see there is actually something that represents what we imagine how ancient Earth must have looked like. When there were no fish and everything was just microbial, just very little. And what we think is that billions of years ago, actually, all the coasts of Earth were covered with just microbial life that looked potentially very similar to what we find in this sinkhole off Middle Island.
Wow, that's so neat. So David, you're, as a marine tech instructor, you invited me in, I walked through the area and I saw a bunch of really neat water measuring calibration type stuff that's part of the project. So what's this mean for you and your students?
What I think really exciting is being able to host Judith and your team here at ACC, and for our students to be able to walk back there and see what you're doing, the excitement the students have when they go back. And I have to tell them, I know the tech side of it, but the science side goes way over my head. And I said, you have to ask one of these researchers exactly what they're doing. But it is a delight and a pleasure having you. And also, it's great having the National Marine Sanctuary. I know John Bright's the one that got us connected and said, wait, you guys might want to check with the college, see what resources we've had.
Yeah.
And this is a planning started this summer, and it's great to actually see this here at the college and just be able to see this actually happening. Yeah. Seeing you guys are getting good results.
Oh yes, we're getting there. No, it's really special this year because we invited many researchers also from other institutes. So I'm the U of M researcher who's currently here, together with a student who's doing super well. Then USC scientists are here, and a couple of scientists from Germany actually, who have come with equipment that is normally deployed in the deep sea, but now it comes to the Middle Island sinkhole, and that would have never been possible without actually having a beautiful lab space available and so much local support. I'm very happy that this has worked out.
Wonderful. Could you describe for the viewers who are of a scientific bent, the basic construct of your experiment? Are you sending divers down into the sinkhole? Are you flying down equipment, or both?
Both, actually. So the divers of the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary actually help us by providing boat space and also their diving capabilities. And they've been doing that now for years, so they really know the system very, very well. So they got us samples, that's the one thing, of this microbial world, so that we can work in the lab with them. And on the other hand, we also sent down a lot of instruments that monitor processes that actually happen there. And we do both this retrieval of samples as well as the deployment of instruments because we want to go at a very specific question. I told you before that this underwater world might resemble ancient Earth environments. And one of the key questions for many disciplines in science is actually how did Earth get oxygenated? How did it turn from a smelly, non-habitable planet into like the beautiful world that we know today with all the oxygen that we breathe? And some episodes in Earth's history are really not clear in that respect. And it might not have been only about volcanism and all these things, but actually what we think is that we have to look back in depth into the processes that produce oxygen. And this is photosynthesis. Because we know that from the plants, but actually microbes developed this strategy that enabled other life forms to flourish. We want to understand how.
Right. What a fundamental pursuit. How did oxygenation appear?
Right.
And you're thinking that based on this experiment, some things are made more clear or definitive than prior to?
At least we can develop hypotheses based on that. It's a big puzzle. It's a big question with many, particularly geological disciplines involved. So we have a very poor rock record of really the ancient Earth. And what we are trying now to do is, on the one hand, provide signatures, markers for certain biological activity, such as oxygen production, and then work together at some point with the geologists to understand how things might have actually occurred. And just to think about what biology might have mattered, actually, how important that must have been.
Judith, that's amazing. Even for an English major, I can get fired up about that. But we have about a minute and a half left. I guess I'm really curious to know how your background, your education, your connection to U of M. Could you share that with the viewers?
I graduated in Germany, actually, in 2015. I was doing there my PhD. Was already working on ancient forms of photosynthesis in similar, though different environments than Middle Island. Then I met Greg Dick at the University of Michigan, who is a professor, has a group for geomicrobiology. We met on a conference, we talked for 5 minutes, and we thought we really need to work together.
All right.
So right away after graduation, I actually went to U of M and started the Middle Island Sinkhole Project, or jumped on board. It's a well-established, long project.
Yeah, wonderful.
So I'm still collaborating with my former supervisors from Germany, who has come here, come along with a lot of equipment.
Yes.
And it's great fun.
Wonderful stuff. Judith, thank you. And David, thank you. And thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts, Nancy Smitham and Don McMaster. For a list of events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on the community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.
The Talk of the Town furniture and set design are provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South in Alpena.